Hi guys. Um, I have to excuse my hair. It's it's really big today. I don't seem to be able to do anything with it, but anyway, it is what it is. Um, you know, um, I was looking on Facebook yesterday, and I came across a post by this guy. I don't really know him, but he said that we or people needed to watch the Netflix, I think it's a documentary called 13 by I was watching it on my phone. Uh, so but anyway, it's called 13th, and it's by a director, Ava DuVernay. I believe that's how you would pronounce her name. And it says in this thought-provoking documentary, scholars, activists, and politicians analyze the criminalization of African Americans and the U.S. prison boom. So I started watching it. I watched quite a bit of it, actually. I haven't finished it yet. I'm going to finish the rest probably after this video, but I wanted to come in real quick and just because some things hit my mind as I was watching it. And I know I say a lot that I'm tired of addressing the silliness of, black men or whoever it is that are behind these computer screens typing the rhetoric about black women and the rhetoric that we love thugs and we run all the good black men away, and that because it's like a song. It really is. I mean, I call it a song because it is, because it's the same lyrics, and you know exactly what the words are, and there's no proof behind it. There's just hate and anger behind it, and the intensity of the hate behind it seems so personal, which is why I have even addressed that before. This, sometimes you have the kind of hate where you just don't like something, or the kind of hate where you want to avoid something, or you have the kind of hate to where it's personal, to where, okay, it's like this, because I love crime shows like Criminal Minds and these shows where they get into the head and the mind and psychoanalyze the killer's thoughts and the reason as to why they do exactly what they do. And so when you begin to start to kind of, or me, psychoanalyze the type of hate and energy that comes off of some of these comments, it seems personal. It really seems personal. It seems as if some of these guys or whoever is writing this stuff, because I honestly, seriously can't put this behavior on all of it on these black men. I really seriously, I think it's a campaign. I think it's something that's being pushed and allowed and encouraged. So, and I mean, you can't see who's behind a computer board. So I'm not taking, a lot of these black men off of the hook. But at the same time, when you just, when you look at men's behavior, for the most part, I'm talking about real men, for the most part, men aren't petty. For the most part, most real men are going to leave something, just leave it alone or walk off or whatever, because for the most part, they don't really want to argue. It's a very feminine energy that will sit and argue and go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with another female. It's a very feminine energy, which is why I have accused, or I have said, I believe a lot of these men or people who are doing this, making these hateful comments and stereotypes and all of this about women are gay, down low, or women, period. You know, because the feminine energy is just too, it's just too strong. Like I say, most men walk off. Most men go somewhere. It's very hard to find a real true man that's going to sit up and argue with a woman all day, because, well, for their own reasons. I'm not going to even go into that. That's going to start something else. But that's just the way it is. So anyway, that's what, summing all that up, that is why I say I think a lot of this is staged. I think a lot of this is set up. I think a lot of this is done with, I don't know, maybe some promises that they'll get views on their channels or whatever. I don't know. But either way, whatever it is, it's foolish and it's sad. And it really just makes them look bad. But anyway, getting back to the movie, it made me wonder, with this type of behavior going on out here. I don't want to tell the documentary because I really would like y'all to watch it. I really would. Most of these people who come with these hateful comebacks on most black women's video, most of the time I don't even think they really take time to even watch and hear what we say. They just write their rhetoric and they skip on. But if any of you will take the time to sit down and watch, this would be a very good movie for you to watch, because the point that I want to make about the movie is that, the documentary is what the documentary stated that since about somewhere in the 70s, whenever Nixon was president, there began these terms about war on crime, war on drugs, war on whatever. And so since that time till today, we have had these terms to where the U.S. government began to criminalize behavior such as drug addiction. We know what happened with the crack era. We know that this drug was put purposely into the black communities for the purpose of arresting black people. We know it's black and Latino people, black and brown people. And so, we know. And so since then, there has been I don't even know the rate of the increase of criminalization of black people, throwing them in prison, killing them, but mostly throwing them in prison, because this is basically what the documentary is about, the mass incarceration of black people in the black community. So with that being said, it just made me wonder how these people who spew the rhetoric about black women chasing black men out of the communities and not wanting real, true, good, honorable, upstanding black men because we choose thugs and we want thugs to rear our children and, leave us and, put us in housing projects. It amazes me how it can be even thought of realistically that is the case when this documentary is even showing statistics of how there are millions, over millions, of Black and Latinos, men and women, in the American prison system who have been taken out of the community. Now, what I'm trying to say, to give full understanding and clarification, unless there's a mentally ill mind, which that's a lot of it, but how does a real, true, rational mind say that it is Black women who are chasing all the good Black men out of the community and you ignore the fact that the United States government and this prison system and the laws have taken millions of Black and brown men and women, especially men, out of the community? I mean, really, how can you say that it's the Black woman who is chasing Black men away when you have these statistics? And I mean, they're doing a documentary on it, so it's not like they can just outright tell lies. So something is wrong there. Something is wrong there. The rhetoric that is being spewed across YouTube is so ridiculously mental that I don't see how a person with a sane mind could even think such a thing. The rhetoric is that, as I just said, the Black woman, all Black women in the Black community are choosing thugs, do not want good, hardworking, intelligent Black men. We do not want them because we want thugs. Now, and we want these thugs to give us their babies, knowing that they're not going to support our children, knowing that they're not going to keep a job, knowing the very real probability of them going to prison or getting shot and killed or whatever. This is what we choose. And then the other rhetoric, that we are choosing welfare over our men. Now, let me stop right there, because the idiocy, and I've never really addressed that in full detail, but the idiocy of that is first of all, you all who spew that rhetoric are looking at statistics from the 70s. I mean, when welfare and all this stuff first even came out. Back when these laws were first established, yeah, Black women couldn't have men in the house. Damn dog, man. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm back. Every time I open my windows, that damn dog starts barking. So, but anyway, the statistics and seems like the what do you call it? The criteria, whatever it is that is used, is the stuff that was way back in the 70s. Okay, I notice a lot of Black men like to quote things from stuff that happened back during female liberation, but when some Black women, I guess, got together with white women and joined with them or whatever. I mean, but the bottom line is that these are things that has happened 40, 50 years ago, when a lot of us weren't even born, and so but these are the criteria that they use to bash Black women. Most of those women who even participated in that or whatever is even dead now. But we are still getting the backlash from it. Now, let me say real quickly so I can sum it up. I don't want to sound like I'm just, Let me say real quickly, those laws of welfare and all that, do you know how many times they've changed from the 1970s until now? Those things don't apply no more. It's not an issue that you can't have a man in the house anymore. I mean, that's where are we getting that from? You have men who are getting welfare, food stamps, housing, and everything like that. So why are y'all still hyped up on the fact that back in the 70s, y'all mamas, because that's who it was affecting, it was y'all mamas, couldn't have a man in the house, and so she put the man out or whatever, which even in that case, that's not the case, because it wasn't the woman who was putting the man out. It was the government and the laws that were saying that you couldn't have a man in the house. It wasn't the black woman. But anyway, as I say, those laws have changed so many times since then, you know. And to say that black women have chosen to sit around, get food stamps, and I guess, I don't know, sit on some type of beach resort with her welfare check, is, I don't get it. That's why I say it doesn't sound like black men. Because that sounds like some rhetoric that white people say when they start talking about black people using up their tax dollars. That's the kind of stuff that they say. Because any black person who grew up in the households getting welfare and food stamps and whatever knows that you're not living some lavish, luxurious life. This is what white people are thinking. Oh, we're just taking care of a bunch of niggers and they're just, sitting around and eating steaks and caviar with our tax dollars. That's why it makes me feel like these are not black men who are saying this. Because if these black men lived in these houses with their moms in government housing complexes, you wasn't living no luxurious lifestyle. Have we seen public housing? Especially in the South. Have we seen public housing? I mean, it's not some high-rise, beautiful condo community, with pools. And I mean, it's usually drugs, crime, gangs, rats, roaches, asbestos, mold. And I mean, have we seen public housing? So to say that black women are choosing and chose to put their man out for government housing and food stamps, I mean, it's so ridiculous. Do you know? I mean, you can't live off of a welfare check and food stamps. I mean, the rent alone, you have to have a job. So I'm trying to understand the logic of you all that keep saying black women choose to put their man out and lay up on the government. I mean, come on, y'all. That's ridiculous. I mean, who would choose to live in government housing and low income school? I mean, do you know the kind of education that these children get that are in these type of neighborhoods? Let's not even talk about the pipeline to prison program that is, and I'm going to call it a program, but it's a system that targets the children that are in these type of communities and housing projects. I mean, seriously, what mother is seriously going to want to choose a low-life man who's going to leave her, not take care of her, not love her, and put her children in low-income public housing over a man that could love her, take care of her, and be a good, hardworking father? I mean, are y'all thinking? it doesn't sound realistic. It doesn't sound realistic. And the point of bringing up that movie is, how do you blame the black woman for putting out black men and not wanting to have a good man in the house and to choose that type of lifestyle, and not look at the fact of, like I said, millions upon millions of black men and women being taken out of the community and out of the home from being able to rear and love their children. And we don't put no blame on that. We don't put any blame on the white supremacy system, who the documentary is telling us it has put these programs and these things in place, and it has built new prisons and started a mass. Do you all know the meaning of the word mass? Mass incorporation of black people for decades. But we still are saying the black woman is putting the black man out, and that's the reason why he's not in the black community, and it's the black woman's fault. Do you understand the mental illness that, I mean, how mentally ill that sounds? When the real reality, and I'm gonna cut the video off, the real reality is, I truly believe and know that with all of this rhetoric, with all of this division, with all of this campaign to push the division between black men and black women and their household and their children, it's a white supremacist agenda. Now, black men can say all day long that the black woman is the co-conspirator to the white man for white supremacy. Well, I say maybe the black man and the white woman is the push for white supremacy and breaking up the black home and the black children and the black family. Perhaps. But at the end of the day, the one that I always say who suffers is our black children and our black communities. And no matter who is getting the finger pointed at who, black man says the black woman says the black man. At the end of it all, it's still white people. It's still the white supremacist system structure that has been built against us. And the only ones who benefit is the fact that black women and black men and black children are still not together in families. That's the bottom line. I don't care whose fault it is, whose fault we want to say, oh, it's the black man because it is. It's the black woman because she. Okay, we still are all suffering. And it's still our children who and the community who is still suffering. And when is there going to be a coming together? If not ever, then hey, that's cool. That's cool if there's not going to be a coming together. Because in some way, shape, or form, there is going to be. Maybe not by the people who it needs to come from, which is the black man. But it's going to come together. It's going to come together, or there's going to be a great and mass dying off. So I wanted to share this. I hope I wasn't all over the place, and I hope that you all get the gist of what I'm trying to say, is that the blame needs to be shifted. The blame needs to be put on where it really needs to be put on, or who it needs to be put on, and the system that it needs to be really put on. But the issue is that we keep fighting against each other so much until we're letting ourselves be distracted. And the problem is never going to be resolved, because I think at the bottom line and at the end of the day, the black man is afraid to fight white supremacy and the white man. And that's the bottom line to it. So he goes and chooses and picks on who he thinks that he can pick on and win, which is the black woman. Guys, have a great day. Thank you for listening. And to the next video. We'll see you next time.